Do you get a lot of unwanted string noise when you bend? If so, you're probably a loser. It's a good thing the Sergeant is here to help you get this under control. Now grab that guitar and let's look at the 3 most effective ways to quiet those bends. First, we have to identify the cause of the problem. Most of the time, the unwanted string noise is caused by the tips of the fingers catching the lower strings when the bend is released. Stop doing that. Sometimes, as is often the case with beginners, the bending finger will actually slide underneath the lower strings. Ridiculous. There are 2 weapons we have at our disposal for quieting unwanted string noise: the fretting hand and the picking hand. Let's start by looking at the fretting hand. Strategy number 1. Use the flesh of the fretting hand fingertip to rub against the lower strings without catching. The very act of the finger rubbing against the lower strings will mute them out. In order to execute this properly, the string placement on the fingertip of the bending finger must be correct. This is why most bends fail. If the string is too close to the nail, the fingers will tend to slide underneath the other strings. If the string is too low on the fingertip, you'll tend to catch other strings upon release. This is the optimal spot. Notice that the line is near the base of the fingertip. This will leave enough fingertip available to rub against the lower strings, muting them out. To avoid catching other strings when you release the bend, make sure that the fingers behave exactly as they did on the way up, but in reverse. This should already significantly quiet your bends, but you still may get some string noise. That's where strategy number 2 comes in. A lot of high-ranking guitarists use the index finger of their fretting hand to further control unwanted string noise. Most bends are executed with the ring finger, which is supported by the middle. That being the case, the index finger can be trained to protrude slightly past the bending fingers so that it touches down on the lower strings. Just be sure to keep the index finger relaxed. At ease, index! Between these 2 strategies, you are fully equipped to eliminate all unwanted string noise. However, if you don't like one of these strategies, there's another highly effective way to quiet those strings using the picking hand. Strategy number 3. In this strategy, you use the palm of your picking hand to mute all the strings below the string you're bending. If you're already used to using your palm to anchor the picking hand, then you already have a tactical advantage. Developing this habit has many advantages, including increased speed, as well as the ability to control unwanted string noise, which is critical when you're in the heat of battle. To execute this technique properly, start by resting the palm across all of the strings at the bridge, so that all of the strings are muted. Now angle the palm so that just the upper part of the palm is lifted, while the lower part remains in contact with the lower strings. The angling of the palm is the key factor in making this technique work. Doing so will enable you to get a clear sound on higher strings while keeping lower strings muted. Now, as an exercise, try playing the second string to ensure that it is not muted. Now play the third string. It should be at least partially muted, while the 4th and 5th strings should be completely muted. Now try the same with the 3rd string. Strike the 3rd string to make sure that you aren't rubbing up against it with the palm. Now hit the 4th and 5th strings to make sure that they're muted. The final step is to practice bending on different strings to make sure that the bend is not getting cut off by the palm. If this happens, simply apply more of an angle to the palm so that the string doesn't run into it. There you have it, 3 ways to control unwanted string noise when bending. Use some combination of at least 2 of these for full protection from enemy strings. I use all 3, but I'm better than you, and don't you forget it. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel.
Unwanted.